Hi, my name is Rhonda Hudson, and I am the author of The Blessings of Alzheimer's and Dementia, God's Gift to Humanity. I've been experiencing this with my dad since 2021. At first, when we started, we didn't know what he was experiencing. He was going through these episodes, and so we went through a series of testing and all of this stuff. And it was just probably in 2023 when we got a final diagnosis of dementia. And the type of dementia that he was diagnosed with was called Lewy bodies. So it was really fascinating because every person I met once, we were going through this process of like, okay, has Lewy bodies dementia, was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. This is the worst thing that you could possibly happen. And they would often use Robin Williams. So Robin Williams was diagnosed with Lewy bodies dementia. And so they would be like, have you heard of Robin Williams? And da-da-da. So it was like every single person I met would say, oh, I'm so sorry for you. And there was something that didn't resonate in my heart about that. I didn't want people to feel sorry, but nor did I want to be connected to this is the worst experience that you could ever go through. And so when the transmission of the book came through, I was on a plane. And my dad had gone through another episode. And so they were moving. They said, okay, he can't stay in assisted living any longer. He needs to move into memory care. And so my brother flew in from Puerto Rico and he was here for a few weeks trying to do the transition. And I was up during the night because the time difference was 9 hours from California to Monaco is 9 hours difference. And so as I was up during the night talking to the doctors, trying to figure out, our next steps, I was completely exhausted. So I got on the plane and I remember looking at the steward and I said, you know what? Give me 2 bottles of water. I have to sleep. And so 30 minutes into the flight, this voice in my head said, get up and get your backpack. Now, my backpack, I keep all my pens and my journals and my writing stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. And they're like, yes, you're going to get up and get your backpack. There was this like tug of war type feeling like, I'm not getting up. I'm not doing this. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. So finally, the voice won. And I got up and I got my backpack and I got my journal out and I started getting my pens ready. And I sat there and all of a sudden it's like the book is called The Blessings of Alzheimer's and Dementia, God's Gift to Humanity. And I went, what? It was so clear. It was like clear as day. And for almost 10 hours, I wrote. And I just wrote like things that were coming back into my memory, things that we're experiencing. What if this isn't a tragedy? Like how humanity looks at this. Maybe this isn't a tragedy. Maybe there's a different way to see this because you want a different way to see this. You want a different way to experience this. And at that time, it was just flowing through me like, let's look at it differently here on the plane. And it was just like one moment, one sentence structure, one idea. Like, what if this is a safety net that humanity put into place through its humanity's blueprint, through this collective consciousness blueprint, that when we get too far from love, this is our way back. So it's not a tragedy. It's a blessing. It's a gift. And the gift is remembering who we are and that everything happens in the present moment, in the now. And this is all we all always have. And so that's how the book came to. If we can look at it differently and see it as a return to love and a return to the present moment, then maybe collectively we can heal this. And it just gives us an opportunity to not have to get to that place. The safety net's put in there when we've gotten too far away from love and we're in fear too much. So when we're out of fear, we can go back to love and we don't need to have dementia or Alzheimer's to remind us. So when I landed, my best friend, it was quite a lot going on, and she flew down from San Francisco to Carlsbad, and she said to me, oh, look, I have this lady that I've just met. She's a publisher, and why don't you call her and just tell her what happened? And I said, okay, that's fine. And I know some publishers. I know people who've written books. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just see. And throughout a majority of my life, or at least the last 35, 40 years, my sign was a dragonfly. And so when I set up the appointment with Deepika, we set up the Zoom call and this dragonfly came up and it was like a direct confirmation for me, like this is my path. And then from there, she's like, look, I'm starting a writing group. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm in. There wasn't even a thought. The next thought, it was like, this is what I'm doing. So we started this in January and it's been such a blessing because I had no idea how to write a book. So I was thinking, oh, wow, okay, well, this is going to give me steps on how to do with my other books and all this. And it's been this beautiful journey with this group of people that are so heartfelt. And I was just describing this. There's so much support in our group. So what it does is it gives you the confidence to move into it and to not get discouraged and to understand that there are steps and there's ways to write, but there's also ways that you can just experience writing. And that I think the one thing I've stepped away is like everything is writing, everything. And Deepika brought that into this group, into this circle that we have, and into our ability to write. And it's like, wow, okay, I didn't see life like that. But life is really everything is writing. And that just kind of goes to the fact that everyone has a story and they have the ability to write that, you know? There's more than what we see to push past the boundaries or the belief systems that we've bought into, to look beyond the programming, even through life. It's like, oh, this is the way it is if you do this. But what if there was more? What if there was more than what we thought, or that what we're told, or what we believe? It's kind of like, I would love for the reader to say, what if? And really tap into imagination. Because in this, all things are possible. And that's really what I would love the reader to walk away. I mean, this is going to be for people who are dealing with Alzheimer's and dementia, caregivers. I wrote this with the idea for them. And as I keep writing, I'm realizing that this is for anyone who can dare to go past or beyond what we've been told or the belief systems that have been put into humanity and say, what if? And come away with the ability to play with their imagination, play with their experience, play with the what if, play with more, because there's so much more. The belief I'm trying to change, or the belief that I would love for people to experience, is to challenge the beliefs that are limiting, to go beyond what they think is possible to the possible, back to the impossible to the possible. It's like a dance. And so when we challenge our limiting beliefs, we expand. And there's expansion in all of us. And the philosophy that I bring is that we're all one, but we're all our unique individual selves expanding. And when I see the expansion in you, I see the expansion in me. I think that's a huge gift and a blessing and fun. And I love believing that when I see your expansion, then I experience mine.